So what's up, Go Givers family? JuJuan Buford broadcasting here, and definitely excited. It's my first time going live on Substacks. This is a new experience for me, and hopefully you'll find this information just as beneficial as I anticipated it would be. I had a conversation recently with a client and also a partner of mine. Let's just say the person's name is Bob to protect her identity, right? And Bob shared with me that he basically was frustrated because he saw other people performing well and better than him, comparatively speaking, and he felt like he was a failure, right? And it was a tough conversation to have because I want to see Bob win just like anyone else. And when you have a close relationship with someone, sometimes you're tempted to not necessarily give them what you need to give them, right? Sometimes you just want to be a friend. But in this particular instance, I said to myself, I'm not going to simply be a friend. I'm not going to massage or just try to ask which Bob's concern. But I also want to make sure I give him some real practical feedback in terms of how he can level up in his business and meet his objectives and goals, right? And so one of the first things I did share with Bob was simply this. Number one, I had to make sure Bob had the proper perspective, right? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, because of the social media society we live in, it's easy to lose perspective, right? Because people have this facade where everybody's a multimillionaire when that's just really not the case. And I let Bob know that, look, 50% of small business owners fail within their first 5 years. And quite frankly, I think that number is bigger than that because, of course, you have businesses that never file. And then secondly, how about all those stillborn businesses, right? Those businesses that never get off the ground? Not really. And it's simply because people are concerned about their family. They're concerned about their friends, what they may say about them, or lack of support they may receive, right? Just that fear and anxiety of people's opinions of them. And I'll tell you, that kills a lot of businesses right in the cradle. And for me, it's always fascinating, right? People are concerned about the individuals who are going to be the least likely to support them in the first place. I mean, if you start up a business, there's no way in the world that you should expect that you have enough family and friends to keep that business afloat anyway. People spend all their time focused on the wrong people and the wrong thing. Anyway, I digress. Right, so I shared that with Bob. The other thing that I wanted to make sure Bob was aware of is, look, just because you started a business, because you were willing to put one foot in front of the other, you were actually really willing to launch. That is a huge accomplishment because of what I just shared, right? Because most people don't launch. They say the wealthiest ground in the world is the graveyard, right? Because all the dreams and talents that never found expression because people were too fearful, right, to manifest what it is they had inside them and share it with the world. And so I wanted to also assure Bob, and I want to assure entrepreneurs as well, look, you're already winning by just getting started, right? And most business owners who achieve success, who win anyway, is usually on their fifth, sixth, or seventh endeavor, right? Because the learning is accumulative, right? The talent stack, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so the next thing I shared with Bob was this. I said, look, Bob, have you been treating your business like a business? Have you been treating it like skilled trade? And I already knew the answer, but I wanted Bob to come to the conclusion himself, right? I wanted him to understand where I was going with this and take inventory himself. Um, and what I would share with entrepreneurs is this: look, doctors, attorneys, engineers, scientists, professors attend school for years before they quote unquote get to the bag, right? Most of them aren't going to get to the bag within their second, third, or fourth year, even once they're completely done with school. And I wanted to put that in perspective. Like, people literally attend school beyond high school and college for another 4, 8, some 10 years, right? Before they can even get in the field and practice, right? And really have the potential, even the opportunity to earn the money they're taking aim at. Skilled tradesmen, they apprentice for years, right? Before they are trusted to be in the field by themselves. And that's even before they even have the acumen to start a business and earn the money they're taking aim at. Takes years and years and years, right? If you're working for a Fortune 100, a Fortune 500 company, right? I'm downtown Detroit. And you want to work with one of these companies that are downtown. Most people have 4-year degrees, right, from college. And some have an additional 2 years on top of it, right? You think about athletes, right? For me, it's always interesting to hear people criticize athletes for how much money they make. But if you take a boxer, most boxers who earn really good grown adult money, man, they've been boxing since they were 6 or 7. Same thing with basketball players. Same thing with football. I mean, they've been practicing their trade for decades before they even hit the field and get to exhibit what they've been working on, right? And so for me, what I shared with Bob is, look, is it not a false expectation that you expect to become an entrepreneur and within your first 2, 3 years become a multimillionaire or earn 6 figures when you haven't put in the time, right? Entrepreneurship is skilled trade. That's a lot of entrepreneurs I don't think realize. They just simply believe I have this idea, or I've seen somebody else do something, or maybe you have a particular skill or talent that somehow you're not got to learn a lot of different things along the way. Now, fortunately, in our business, we provide a safe space, right? Entrepreneurs in our business model can fail and not have to worry about the immediate consequence of failure like traditional business, right? In traditional business, you buy a restaurant or start up a restaurant, or you start up a food truck, or you start up a salon, whatever the case may be, and you don't get things right, you're falling behind, right? You're going further in debt. Things can get real tight, get real bad, real quick. You can fall into the red. In our space, in our business model, that does not happen. Okay. And that's also a challenge, right? Because there's something called lost opportunity costs people don't realize when you're in an environment where you can fail safely. But there's trade-offs. And I shared that with Bob as well. Like, part of the reason why you're not having the success that you desire to have is because you may not feel the urgency either. Right. If you don't wake up tomorrow and don't pick up a client tomorrow or next week, it's not like your life's going to go to hell in a handbasket. It's just going to be is what it is, right? So having a sense of urgency is really important. But here's the real here's what I was really getting at, right? I asked Bob, how are you inviting people to learn about your business? And he pretty much told me to look. I send emails, I send text messages, and I post via social media. And I said, okay, interesting. I mean, these are all things that I do too as well. And I said, well, if you're sending emails and you're sending text messages and you're posting online, I said, are you setting up a follow-up call? Are you setting a follow-up appointment? Are you setting an opportunity to follow up with these individuals to find out what they like best? And Bob, of course, gets real quiet, right? And so what I reminded him of is, look, when I am sending someone information, I just don't splatter them with marketing content. I, number one, have some type of discussion, some type of exchange. 9 times out of 10, if I'm interacting with someone online, eventually I end up getting their phone number, and I'm going to call them up and I'd say, like, I'm going to invite them and say, look, I'd like to share, or get permission, right? I'd like to share some information with you. Maybe not before you, but based on A, B, C, and D, the conversation we had, I believe could be really beneficial. If I were to forward the information to you, would you take a look at it? All right, so I received confirmation, number one, that they're going to take a look. And then secondly, I said, great, fantastic. Look, how soon do you think you can get around to it? Morning or afternoon? A day from now, a week from now, right? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever the case may be. You sure you'll get around to it by then, right? I confirm they're going to get around to it by then. I say, great, I'm going to give you a call then. Or great, we can do a Zoom then. Or great, we can have interaction then. Why is this important? Because 9 times out of 10, if you send me some information with my busy schedule between work, kids, and everything else I have going on, personal life, all that fun stuff, if you don't set a date and time to follow up with me, if you don't like give me some type of date, something to aim at, right? 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to look at it. It's not personal. It's just when I look at my inbox today, there's a million messages, and I have priorities before you end up having a conversation. Yeah, I had things going on, right? That doesn't change because you forwarded something to me. So if you want to get on my priority list, you have to literally get on my priority schedule, right? So you get the point. And that's what I share with Bob. Just that little adjustment, just that little tweak, right, can make the biggest difference in the world. And so oftentimes what entrepreneurs don't understand either, it's just those little things, those little adjustments, right? Because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, it's really simple. You're either not doing it right or you're not doing it enough, right? Now, doing it right can be solved. right? Mentorship, seeking out help and guidance, individuals who have already walked the walk and achieved the things you want to achieve. It will take years off your learning curve. Now, I asked Bob, have you been out here just the blind leading the blind? Is that what's been going on? Have you been seeking guidance? Have you been seeking mentorship? Have you been seeking people who can cut your learning curve and give you those little tweaks and adjustments, right? Because at the end of the day, once again, why would you spend 5, 10, 15, even 3 years learning something where one conversation with someone can help you solve for that problem in 10, 15 minutes, right? And the other thing that I think a lot of people don't realize, and I brought this up to Bob as well, is look, there's a lot of content out there right now about being, right? If you just be something, you'll have the success. And what people don't realize is it's not just be, right? When you hear these individuals, these speakers talk about this concept, it's decide, be, do, have. In order to have what other people have, you got to be willing to do what they do. And oftentimes, when I'm talking to entrepreneurs, very much similar when I was having a conversation with Bob, what I find out is that people take for granted, once again, the preparation, right? The experience stacks, the talent stacks, the skill stacks, the wisdom stacks that have to basically be accumulated over the course of time. And these things compound. It's like when you see those images online are real popular, right? You see a kid standing at a window and he's just standing and he's too short to look through the window. And then you see another kid standing on some books and then the kid can actually look through the window, right? Because they're standing on the books. So what is that? That's accumulated learning. And that's the same thing that's oftentimes required. Is you got to give yourself time to cook, I guess is what I'm saying. A lot of people don't give themselves time to cook. And you see somebody else winning, you see somebody else getting it in, but you don't realize what stacks they brought to the table. Now, let me tell you something as well, because sometimes when you bring stacks to the table, that can be a double-edged sword. Because a lot of people who have experience and have achieved and have success, they'll get involved in another business endeavor and they just assume they know it all, right? Because they had success in another endeavor. And they bring almost like a sense of pomposity to the new endeavor. And then they're not willing to learn the things they need to learn to go back to school, right? Get in the gym, get in the books, right? Get into the practice and the studies. So that's something to be aware of as well, right? But I'm going to end here. Once again, most people are just not willing to do enough or not do it right. And, entrepreneurship can be very simple. All you really have to do at the end of the day is do what other entrepreneurs do to have what they have. Now, look, obviously, the environment changes over the course of time. The atmosphere may change, right? We know that. Tactics may change, but strategies don't change. The bottom line is the human mind, since we started standing upright, has not evolved that much over time, if not at all, right? So a lot of times the same strategies that have worked are going to continue to work. And the other thing that I think about frequently when I'm having conversations like what I have with Bob is understanding that the price, right? The price. People want what other people want, but they're not willing to pay that price and do what they did for an extended period of time. Like most of the entrepreneurs I know who have succeeded at a really high level. And yes, 100K plus is a really high level as an entrepreneur because only 5%. Number one, they say 50% make it beyond their fifth year. The real number is 90%, for real. And then they say that 10% earn 100K persistently. Once again, it's really more like 5%. It really is. Because once again, most business owners don't file properly. They're not doing whole other issues, elements you got to add to the frame. So I firmly believe only 5% of entrepreneurs really are. If you're earning 100K plus per year, trust me, as an entrepreneur, you may not be elite of the elite, but you are far above average. You are far above average. And that's the other thing I wanted to put in perspective for Bob too, because while you're sitting here comparing yourself to other people, don't get caught up once again in the social media facades and stories that are out there. Okay. These people are posting their best lives, and it's easy to get caught up in thinking everyone's a millionaire. Look, most of those people aren't earning 50K per year straight up. And you need to be aware of that while you're comparing yourself to other people. So don't be distracted by that. And look, I want people to understand this. because I kind of touched on consequences, because there's this back and forth conversation about balance, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you are looking to achieve on a very, very high level, particularly if you're looking to become a multimillionaire, there are going to be periods in your business where there's no such thing as balance. Okay, and let me just put that out there. But that's really not the point that I'm looking to make. The point I'm looking to make at the end of the day is decide what success means for you. Stop looking at what other people have and what other people are doing. If all you need to achieve and live the life you want to live in terms of having food, a roof over your head, if you want to have enough to take care of a kid and you're living in some small town somewhere, 50K might be enough. That might be what success means to you. That may be all that's required. Maybe you need 100K, maybe you need 250K, but stop basing what's success and what's required for you to be happy based on other people's lives. They're living their lives. Live yours. A question I ask entrepreneurs all the time is simply this. If there was a safe in your basement or in your living room, and you could take a certain dollar amount to sustain the lifestyle that you'd be okay with. Look, I'm not saying that okay means Steve Bezos. I mean, you would be okay with, you'd be able to take care of your family, keep a roof over your head, take a vacation every now and again, have some nice things all again. Rarely do, when individuals are honest with me, do they say 250K or 500K or a million. Most people say, you know what, I can get by off of 80. I can get by off of 70. I can get by off 100. That's what most people share. Some people, if they're really being honest, I've heard people say, I can get by off 60, right? After tax, right? That's really the question you should ask yourself. And then reverse engineer that and ask yourself, what are the consequences you're willing to pay to get there? What's the price going to be like? What do you have to give up to go up, right? And live with it, right? And just know that once again, entrepreneurship can be very simple. You're either not doing it enough or you're not doing it right. You get those two things handled, you're good. So with that being said, I celebrate success in advance. Goodbye for now.